Welcome back to the channel guys, hope you're doing great as we're back with another video just for you guys. Before revealing today's topic, I'd like to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel as it would mean a lot to us. Also don't forget to click the notification bell as well, so that you're reminded whenever we make a new video and you don't miss any future videos. Today we'll be taking a look at some of the richest, most famous people in the world. That's right, we're talking about royal monarchs, and not just any king or queen, but the world's richest monarch, King Maha Vajiralongkorn or Rama X of Thailand. King Rama is the second child and the only son of the revered King Bhumibol Adulyadej. He is the latest king to ascend to the Thai throne and the 10th member of the Chakri dynasty. And since his coronation in 2019, he has made a reputation for being a bit of a playboy, being one of the biggest spenders and controversial figures in Thai history. His personality has been criticized for many things. And today we'll be talking about how he spends his immense fortune, the things he owns and the hobbies he's known for. Before we move on with the rest of the video, I'd like to ask you guys, how would you guys like to spend this much money? Would you travel somewhere? Buy some special thing? Please let us know below. King Vajiralongkorn came to power after the death of his father on 13th of October 2016, and although he accepted the throne, in an unprecedented move he decided not to be coronated and allow his country to mourn the death of his father. This was followed by a period of mourning lasting 3 years until he was coronated in a ceremony in early May 2019. This event, which lasted 3 days from 4 to 6 May, cost the government a whopping $31 million. It involved a 6-hour-long procession in which 1,300 people, military members, the king's daughter Bairakatayaba and wife Queen Suthita marched alongside the king through the streets of Bangkok, who was carried on a golden palanquin carried by 16 soldiers. The previous day's coronation saw him put on the crown of victory, a symbolic object of the dynasty, which is made of gold and studded with numerous rare diamonds, all in all weighing 7.3 kilos. The newly appointed king then married his longtime girlfriend and personal bodyguard Queen Suthita in a surprise ceremony, and the king and queen spent the night in the royal palace. Now comes the question of his net worth, which is estimated to be around $40 to $70 billion. That's right guys, King Vajiralongkorn, the richest king in the world, could very well be worth $70 billion. And that is not including some very special assets. As before his coming to power, some special properties were previously handled by the Crown Property Bureau, an institute neither private nor governmental, and as one of his first steps, he abolished it and made all those properties his own. And can you guys guess how much they are expected to value? Not a few million, but a whopping $73 billion. So guys, the king could very well be worth over $100 billion. Then there is the question of lands and properties, which as you may imagine are vast. All in all, the royal family is reported to have over 16,000 acres of land. And this not even counting the special royal properties, which are far too numerous to count. Chief among them is the Royal Palace, the home of the royalty since 1785, and is situated in the heart of Bangkok City. However, nowadays it's mostly only reserved for ceremonial purposes. This complex, comprising of multiple buildings constructed over 2.6 million square feet, remained the center of the monarchy for more than a century, until 1923. The modern king lives and works from the Dusit Palace complex. Almost 700,000 square feet in area, this complex constitutes almost 13 separate residences, like the Amphorn Satan Residential Hall, which is the king's preferred place of stay when he's in Thailand. But the surprising fact is that despite having these palaces, he chooses to spend time abroad, preferring a hotel called Grand Hotel Sonnenbeitel in the Bavarian Alps of Germany, and is rumored to own property close by. His properties don't stop there. He is said to own $30 billion in properties in Bangkok alone, with famous buildings and plazas like the Siam Paragon, Siam Discovery and Siam Central malls are all built on royal land. Immense luxurious spendings don't end there either, as the king also owns not one or two but an entire fleet of aircraft, which included 4 Boeing commercial jets, 3 Airbus commercial jets, 3 Sukhoi superjets, 4 Northrop fighter jets and 21 helicopters, all totaling 38 aircraft. And that's not the end of it either, as the king is famous for being a pilot himself, and shows us to fly his aircraft, including the commercial liners, which he takes all over the world. This entire fleet with the associated labor, maintenance, and fuel costs the royal family over $64 million in total each year. Even on land the king likes to travel in style, as whenever in Thailand he's seen being chauffeured around in a cream-colored Rolls-Royce Silver Spur limo thought to be worth $2.2 million. As any rich person ought to be, the king is also a fan of vintage cars, owning a 1960 Rolls-Royce Phantom costing $200,000 as well as a $1 million 1964 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud 3 and a $1.1 million Rolls-Royce Phantom 4. Mercedes Maybach 62 at $715,000, Mercedes V and S-Class cars totaling $300,000, and then we have yet another Maybach, this one being an S600 Pullman worth $1.4 million. For processions around the city he uses convertibles, which has often been a beautiful vintage Cadillac Eldorado. Among other things the king is also fond of dogs, having owned a pet poodle named Fufu. The king was extremely fond of the animal and dressed him up in formal wear and formally declaring him an air marshal as well. However, when the poodle passed away in 2016, he didn't spare any expenses there either, giving him a 3-day Buddhist funeral that is said to have cost $2 million. And finally we have the elephant situation. In Thai culture white elephants are a symbol of royalty and are treated as such, so any found are considered the king's property. As his father got over 10 of them, so is expected of King Vajiralongkorn, and he already got one not long after coronation, and although this didn't cost him a cent, the care and conservation of these creatures will require $1.1 million a year. The list of spending goes on, but it's time to wrap things up. After this exhaustive list, I don't think there's any doubt that King Vajiralongkorn is the richest king and one of the biggest spenders in the world. Well, that was all for today guys, hope you found this video fun and informative. If you did, please leave a like down below to show us your appreciation, and I'll see you guys in the next video.